Al, you're a noted first-person shooter expert.
What a way to start this by lying.
I would never lie to the people.
Lies.
Dragon Ball expert and first-person shooter expert, and Ladium. That's you.
I am in Ladium, but the other two things I can't claim.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Season of Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode 173. Is that what I said?
That is what you said.
But we might as well call this episode 666.
It's true.
Because we're talking about Doom.
We're going to hell.
We played that new Doom.
We did.
It's out there. So, we've talked about this before. I think we talked about this when we talked about Wolfenstein.
Mm-hmm.
You are not a first-person shooter person.
No, I'm awful at them.
Can you name at least 3 other first-person shooters you have played in the last, 5 years that weren't Wolfenstein and Doom? Hitting you with the hard questions immediately off the bat.
I legit can't think of a single one. Can you? I've watched my brother play a lot of Battlefield, but I didn't play anything.
Right.
It's just not my style.
Yeah, I can't say that we've played anything else like that together.
So no.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, these are the games you've played.
Wolfenstein and Doom.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Doom Eternal's out.
Yep.
Came out the same day as Animal Crossing, obviously. And we have played a significant amount of it. Mm-hmm. One of us has gotten somewhat further than the other.
Yes.
By further, I mean hit credits, while the other didn't.
Yeah.
But there are reasons for that, obviously. So yeah, I would say this was a hotly anticipated release for the two of us.
Yes, it was. I was real stoked about it. I've been looking forward to it for a good while after playing Doom 2016 and 2018.
Mm-hmm. Because you just kind of came, you played Doom, and then you were like, hey, I played Doom, and I was like, wait, what? You? Did you mistype something? Did you meant to write Doomsday gardening game? That's very gender specific, and that's kind of offensive. But I couldn't think of anything else that Doom in it. That wouldn't be also kind of a first person shooter.
Yeah. So the story behind that, if they have not heard this before, is that I was freaking the F out because of my dissertation defense, and I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. I was just losing my mind. So my brother, being the fantastic human being that he is, drove down from New York with a copy of Doom 2016 in
as you do
spring 2018, and was like, here, I'm gonna sit on the couch with you and we're gonna play Doom. And I was like, okay, it's not really my thing. I'm gonna be really bad at it. He's like, it's okay if you're bad at it. It's fine. Just pick the easiest difficulty. I just want you to play Doom. It will help. I'm like, okay. And I was bad at it, but the very first time that I was able to rip a demon's arm off and then beat him to death with it, I was just like, this is it. This is it. This is what I needed. And so Keller and I sat on my couch and we powered through the entirety of Doom 2016 as a way to make me calm down so I could get through my dissertation.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah, and I mean, I passed my dissertation defense and I have a PhD, so thanks,
yeah, exactly.
Doom 2016.
Doom headline: Doom 2016 got me my PhD.
I probably should have put that in my acknowledgments of hey, thanks Doom 2016.
I'm not exactly the same story as you, but I picked that game up because I heard a lot of people being like, "Man, Doom 2016 is real good," and played through, and I was like, "Wow, this game is real good. This combat is real tight and everything. Just all the shooting and maneuverability is all real good and all this stuff. It's a really well polished and just really hits the key aspects of what you want from like a fast-paced first-person shooter in terms of like the core gameplay.
And the secret Doom levels were super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. But yeah, you were a little shocked at me playing Doom.
Yes. That leads us to Doom Eternal, the sequel to Doom 2016.
Yes. And it leaves off basically like right where we ended.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I guess from the jump, we both agree that this game is not as good as the previous.
It is not as good as 2016.
Yeah.
That is true.
Which is a bummer, because like obviously I think we were going into this like really excited and everything, coming off the heels of that first game, and I think this game kind of ran into the same problem that like a lot of games kind of do when like they achieve parallel success or unparalleled success, because like obviously Doom 2016 was a huge surprise.
Yeah.
Considering the development that the next Doom game had been in for the past like nearly 15 years at that point, where like at one point it was just a Call of Duty clone and all that, until it became Doom 2016 everything. I will say like the core gameplay still feels really good.
Yeah.
Like there is like the loop of all that stuff is still good. Like it feels so great, it's so snappy and everything. But at the same time, there's just a ton of systems layered on top of it. There's multiple like skill trees between just like you yourself, weapons, and then you have like mastery challenges on top of those weapons and everything. There's also another section of abilities that raises like your health, armor, and ammo counts and all that sort of stuff, and then gives you like bonus abilities on top of that. There's a really big like focus on like weak points in this game, and I think sometimes that works, but especially when you are playing this game on a console with a controller, it is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. And I think that's like a key aspect of this game, is that like if you were playing this on a keyboard and mouse, I think a lot of like the weirdness of just like the weak point system would be alleviated, because like you'd have so much more fidelity in terms of your aim and everything. But when you're on a controller, you do not have that same fidelity, and it makes things just like more difficult than they need to be. So like for example, there's these big enemies that have like these big guns on their hands, and one of the ways that like you are able to kind of like make that fight easier for you is that like you'll use like the assault rifle, and there's a sniper rifle, like a weapon mod for it, and you zoom in and you shoot those off both hands, which in theory seems rather simple, but when you're in the midst of like a lot of combat, finding time to like hunker down, aim, make sure they don't move while you're making sure you're not getting hit by a bunch of other stuff that's going to knock you around and make your aim all unsteady, is not the simplest thing in the world.
So you do what I do and just hit them with a rocket launcher.
I mean, that also works.
So I did every single time. Like once I realized that I couldn't like actually get the specific area down targeted, and I was just like wasting bullets on this guy, I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna rocket launch him. And I did every single time he came up. I was just like, all right, rocket launcher out, let's go, buddy.
There's an enemy they introduced in the penultimate episode or mission or level, whatever you want to call it, where basically the weak point and like the easy kill for them is just getting headshots on them.
Oof.
But like they drop like a ton of health and ammo if you do that. So like you are incentivized to do that, but like they move around a lot, and also you're getting bombarded with a ton of enemies. So it is not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really hard in general to be like, you have to hit the specific part on a critter when like a critter when you just have like 10,000 like creatures just attacking you at the same time, and everybody's really fast, and it's a lot to ask for precision.
Yeah. But again, like I think if like we had keyboard and mouse, we were doing it like that, I don't think this would be a problem.
Do you not remember how awful I was at even Link to the Past with a computer?
Yeah, but keyboard and mouse is set up for first-person shooters.
Yeah, I'm just not good at it.
So like it's weird in that aspect. I feel like they almost kind of went overboard on collectibles in this game.
Yes. There's too many.
Doom 2016 had collectibles, but like
they're like the toys and that's it.
Yeah. In this game, you have more toys. You have music you can get that you can listen to in the Fortress of Doom.
Yep.
It's a good name.
It is a good name.
Cheat codes.
Yep.
Currencies that you can use for all the different skill trees.
Mm-hmm.
Codex notes
Mm-hmm.
that give you lore and all that sort of stuff. What else is there? That's basically it.
The Slayer keys.
Oh yeah, and then Slayer keys, which open up specific little harder mini missions that you can do within a singular mission if they spawn for you.
Yeah, and you can also do like the secret battles. I forget what they're called. And then there's also another collectible later on that's a mastery token.
Yes, which feels like a weird thing to add into the game. Like it almost it seems like you put on this whole like you put this whole system in for all your weapons, like, oh, mastery challenges will unlock, better things for your gun, so you're incentivized to use those weapon mods in the specific way that they're asking you to do. And then near the end of the game, you're just like, oh, hey, by the way, you can just bypass those if you want.
If you have these tokens.
Yeah, like I don't understand, like it almost seems like you're undercutting your own system for no reason.
I appreciated it in one instance, but yeah, it was bizarre. And again, like an extra collectible that no one really needed.
Yeah. Like once they started just giving those out like a lot near the end of the game, like I was just like, well, why would I do any of these mastery missions then? Because I can just get one of these tokens and then just be done with it. It's super weird. But yeah, like and a lot of like there's like in the earlier levels there's usually like maybe like 20 collectibles per level.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to go and like look around and find and all that sort of stuff. And like once you find something, like, okay, how do I get in here and everything? In a way, it artificially inflates the lengths of levels, which are already kind of maybe too long to begin with.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's not the best.
No. And I think that's one thing that both of us could agree on is that the levels were too long.
Mm-hmm. Everything in this game is kind of just like almost too big.
Too much.
Too big, yeah.
Like 2016 wasn't really complicated in the sense that it was just like, all right, go in here, tear some things apart.
Mm-hmm.
You're on Mars, time to go to hell, but then we gotta defeat this spider lady.
It's simple.
Yeah.
And I think also a one weird thing about the game is that like I don't think some of the writing in this game's good.
No.
Like a lot of it feels like it almost misses the point of what made Doom 2016 good, was that like it was like weird and charming in ways that like you don't expect. Like to me, the entirety of Doom 2016 is boiled down into like the very beginning of the game when like you wake up and you have this keyboard terminal like talking to you like, hey, this is what your mission is, and Doom guy's just like, this, get this shit my way. I'm just gonna shoot stuff.
Yeah.
And then now we're getting like the backstory of Doom guy. Doom guy talks. Doom guy should not talk.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever needed his backstory, honestly.
It's like
they're trying to make it way deeper than it should be. Like it's Doom, y'all.
It's Doom. You go fight demons, rid them of the earth, go to hell, all that sort of stuff. You don't need to make this into some like weird avant-garde metal cover story that you're making.
God, that's a different game. It's not Doom.
It's just a lot of this game just feels weird.
Yeah, I could agree with that, and it's a bummer. Like, I was super looking forward to this, and I can't even finish it.
Because there are some parts in this game that get just ridiculous.
Yeah, like stupid, and I was just like, nope.
So one of the things I saw going around, because obviously I wasn't playing Doom a lot, I was kind of bridging my time between it and Animal Crossing. But like a lot of people were beginning to talk about like, oh, the Marauders in Doom are not fun.
Yeah.
They are a big pain in the butt. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then like halfway through the game, you meet your first one, and then it's like it explains to you like anytime you meet a new enemy, it's like, okay, here's the thing you have to do to beat it, which seems weird because a lot of the game is like they keep talking about how like, oh, these are like combat puzzles, but then if anytime you meet a new enemy, it's like, here's a solution to beat them.
Yeah.
So it's really weird. But Marauders are essentially like very hectic as an enemy because like if you get too close to them, they'll shoot you. If you get too far away, they'll shoot projectiles at you. They'll shoot a dog at you, and the only way you can like cause damage on them is to do like counterattacks essentially. So like it's a lot of just like waiting around, waiting for them to come to you and fight and shooting, and then just rinse and repeat
While
for
staying
a
like
while.
mid range, or else they
Mm-hmm.
destroy you in other ways. And like I texted you when I got to one. I was like, man, this enemy sucks. Like it's super hard. And I didn't spoil what it was because I knew that you would eventually get there. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember texting you and be like, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally beat it, and I'm like, okay, all right, I beat this guy. It's fine. And then they kept throwing them at me.
I think I will say the only good thing, well, obviously, like this may be just a difficulty thing, but they never exceeded having more than one in a combat scenario.
Right, but when you have one, and then you also have like 20 other things coming at
Right?
you.
Yeah. It makes it not a whole lot of fun. Also, they just don't care if you use the BFG,
Yeah, that
which
was
sucks.
my other solution. I was like, all right, you know what? I can't fight these guys. Like it's really, really difficult. I just need to get through this. I'm gonna BFG him. And he's like, you thought. Like, all right, I would give up. I'm done. I'm done. I tried. They suck so bad. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one that thinks that they suck.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure that if I said anything on the internet, I would get like the get good crowd, but I don't even know if there is a get good for this.
I think there is,
Okay.
unsurprisingly so, but
Yeah, I was just thinking like maybe everybody's struggling with these guys because they suck so bad.
I mean, I do hear like that's a common thing that people talk about. Like, man, these enemies kind of suck.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, especially later on, they'll also kind of like throw in a bunch of just like lower level enemies just to constantly be in your way while you're trying to fight them as well.
Yeah.
So it just makes it even more annoying. It's a weird dynamic. Like again, like we were talking about this. Like I don't know if I was just missing something with fighting these things or whatnot, but like the whole antithesis of the Doom combat in these modern games is that like you're constantly moving, you're constantly shooting and moving and doing all this sort of stuff. While these fights are basically like let's slow the combat down to a halt and just have you wait around for counterattacks.
Yeah. Well, everything else is still going a million miles an hour around.
Yeah, which is like not what I want to do in that game.
No. It's the opposite of what you want to do in that game.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's the opposite of what I want to do in this game.
Right. Like I just want to shoot stuff and feel real cool and powerful.
That's really it.
Yeah, that's it. So like when you get the taste of like going back to older levels with like all of the cheat codes on, it's like this is what I want this game to be. Which obviously it'd be very easy, but like also I'm just like, man, this game would be really good if it was just this.
Yeah.
Also, going back to those older levels where you have infinite ammo and the BFG, super broken, but also it's like, oh, this feels real good.
I really wish that you could turn on the cheat codes like in the levels that you're currently in. Like it sucks that you can't. Like I got it. Why can't I use it?
The other thing that's really kind of stinky about this is that like if you say for my problem where like the Slayer gate keys just half of them have decided not to spawn for me.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go back and try and get those, you don't have the ability to fast travel when you go back into old missions. Because that is a thing that happens at the end of each mission. So like you'll get fast travel so you can go back and get collectibles, which is really a nice and handy feature that they've added.
Mm-hmm.
Which I took advantage of that a lot. But if you go back into a mission that you've already beaten everything, it just acts like you've never been there before, and you basically have to replay everything.
That sucks.
Like I would be okay with it was just like you can fast travel, but like all the enemy spawns are going to be there when you immediately come in because you haven't played the level essentially. But this is just like, well, you got to play through the whole level again if you want to go find this specific thing. Which I mean, you can mitigate that by using like the cheat codes and everything and just being super powerful, but still, like it's time that you're kind of wasting.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
I don't love that.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not what I would want if I was having a game that includes fast travel in their missions, and then be like, oh, hey, never mind, just kidding.
I don't love that.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, there is some incentive to getting like a bunch of the collectibles and stuff. Like, um, you have like this weird room in your fortress in the Fortress of Doom where it's like Doom Guy's workshop, which I'm not real sure how I feel about. Like, there's some good goofs in there, but also just like the overall tone of it just seems very bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, here's Doom Guy with his 3-monitor setup and his guitars on the wall. It's like, I don't know about this. But you get to like see all the collectibles you get. Like, there's this giant wall of toys that you find. All throughout the fortress, you'll find a bunch of pieces of music that you find, which is like various pieces of music from Doom, like original Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 2016, Commander Keen.
Yep.
And then the Quake games,
Yep.
which I thought was interesting. Like, I wonder if at some point we're going to see remasters or like a redux of Quake in the same style that we've seen with Doom.
It's an interesting point.
Because they tried to bring Quake back around the same time as Doom 2016 with Quake Champions, where it was like a hero-based first-person shooter, and then it flopped really bad.
Yeah.
So I wonder if at some point we just see a new Quake that's in this same kind of style. Wouldn't surprise me, at least. It also makes me think of like they were doing a new Unreal Tournament as well. Not this team, but like Epic was. And I don't know if that ever really went anywhere. Because it was like a free-to-play thing in beta like years ago. But I don't think it ever went anywhere past that. Because I feel like that's also a game you could like do in this kind of style and remake, even though like that's more of a multiplayer focused game and everything. But it's weird. This game also does have multiplayer. I have not touched it just because like
nope.
So I don't know exactly like what it entails and everything, so I can't really comment on that. But it feels weird that we don't have multiplayer first-person shooters in the same vein as like Unreal Tournament and Quake anymore. Like, I feel like those would be kind of like a layup in today's modern modern games and everything. But like, I feel like anytime you see like reduxes or like kind of like games that are inspired by that style, it's just like, here's some indie PC game and it doesn't really go anywhere. So, which is a bummer because like those games were really good back in the day, and it's like fast-paced multiplayer first-person shooters are fun to play, but now everything is, I mean, I guess you could blame Call of Duty 4 for kind of like usurping all that and making that the first-person shooter multiplayer style that has been prevalent to this day still. So, well, now it's all Battle Royale, so you coming soon, Quake Battle Royale.
Oh God, no. What a mess.
What a mess indeed. There's also something fun if you find all the collectible the cheat code collectibles, because there's a little like retro computer in your office as well. If you find all the cheat codes, it's just you have regular Doom. All regular Doom's on there. I think it's like the first 4 episodes. I don't know. Like, I don't know how complete these versions of Doom are because I don't have a ton of experience with original Doom and original Doom 2. Like, I've not really played those games, so I don't know how like what versions these are, or if they're good versions or not, or anything. It feels weird as well because like they just put out on every console and phones and everything, like those ports of Doom and Doom 2 and Doom 3 and all that sort of stuff. And now they're just like, hey, it's in Doom Eternal as well.
Yay.
If you want. I mean, at least these don't have you logging into your Bethesda account immediately, so. It's like that's a weird thing, because they could just be like, hey, you want to spend $4 and buy Doom already on your console? Have it there. I guess like if you really wanted to, you could do that because like they kind of force you to play on like the computer screen in the game,
Yeah.
which is I think it's a way to kind of like segment it into 4x3, but it still feels a little weird. But like it seems fine as is. But yeah, you just have all of Doom in there, and then like there's another code you can put in. You can unlock Doom 2, all of Doom 2, maybe, I don't know. So you can play Doom and Doom 2 and Doom Eternal. Like, man, I want to play Doom. Let's fire up Doom Eternal. Go do that. I mean, that's a good little thing to add in there. Like, they were kind of doing that in the original game as well, in Doom 2016, by having like those classic levels.
Pre-order, though.
We did not get Doom 64, unfortunately.
We did not.
Because Amazon's like, we're not going to send that to you.
Yeah, I really did like Doom 2016's levels like that though. So it's cool. But man, there are a lot of missteps in this game.
Part of me was wondering throughout the entirety of this game whether or not we would see some weird like tie-in, like make this game tie into the Wolfenstein series.
Really?
Yeah.
What made you think that?
I don't know. That was just something I thought that might be a thing, but like there was never anything like, oh, like this is a rumor or anything. This is just me speculating, but I don't know.
Wolfenstein in hell.
Yeah, I wonder. I was wondering if they were going to do like some kind of like Easter egg or something.
Oh yeah,
but they never did. Egg. I think the closest is that there is a Wolf 3D song in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. I don't know. I thought that might have been really weird and interesting, but you know, that's just me. But yeah, like, sorry, go ahead.
I just wish that I could use the cheat codes like in the levels because I was real mad that I couldn't beat it.
Mm-hmm.
Real mad.
Be fun. It makes it really dumb and fun.
And that's really all
like,
I
yeah,
want
this is
this
what
game.
I want.
That's
yeah.
really all I want for this game is for dumb fun.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel about the platforming aspects of this game? Because there was some of that in Doom 2016, but I feel like they went really over the top with it here.
They did. The first time that I ever like had to jump onto a wall and climb it, the way he like scurries up, I was like dying laughing because it's just like such a weird scurry.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't something I was like, yay, platforming in my Doom.
They also had like the one thing where some of the climby walls would have like mines on them.
Yes.
And then they only did that for one level.
Mm-hmm.
That never shows up again.
No, that was weird.
And also it was kind of like useless because like they don't do that much damage, and you're just like, eh.
I just went through them anyway.
Yeah. The last couple of levels get like really into doing a lot of like long jump platforming. So like you're going through like these long like kind of like warp gates that like just fling you, and then you have to like hit another one and then another one and then line up your jump into hitting like a wall or like a pole to vault off of.
Yikes.
So like I definitely died a few times on that, just like trying to line everything up and also trying to figure out like where am I supposed to go?
Yeah, that's hard sometimes when it's
Mm-hmm.
I was like, maybe this area? Who knows?
Yeah.
Shrug shoulders.
There was a part of me when like coming into this game that I was like, man, the way that people are describing like the movement of this game really reminds me of Call of Duty Advanced Warfighter, which had a lot of like kind of the same similar style of movement where like you could like, you know, double jump, you could like dash around and strafing and all that sort of stuff. Similar to what this game has, but I don't know. There's part of me that was just like, this game, there's something slightly off about the way they kind of implement it here.
You know what they never should have implemented?
What?
Swimming mechanics.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's
That sucked.
Yeah.
That underwater segment is garbage.
It's not great.
And there was like no instructions whatsoever of like how to actually navigate underwater, other than if you need to break a wall, you have to dash.
Yeah.
That was it. That was all I got. And I'm like, cool, but also like, how do I move? How do I dive? How do I come back up? Because I'm dying from this radiation.
You just radiate to death.
I mean, it tried to radiate me to death.
So you missed out on. You never got the sword, did you? Or did you
Uh,
get the sword?
I picked up the crucible and then I couldn't do anything with it
Okay. So
because I
eventually they
gave
add
up
in the
there.
sword, where you'll have like little collectible or like pickups that you will find in certain situations that refill your sword. So you have like three slots that or three kind of hits that you can use for it. Those are usually one hit kills. I think they don't work on Marauders or um, Doom Hunters, the dudes with like the tanks and everything and have the shields. Um, so
I
that's the
liked
thing.
those guys. Those are fun.
I feel like I was like never really using using the sword that often because I was like, oh, maybe I'll need this later on for another big enemy, and then I would just never use it. The only times I was like really using it was like in the last level because like there's a lot of the last level specifically is just a lot of just like here we're gonna throw all sorts of stuff at you,
Ugh.
all that sort of stuff. The last two levels also have like pretty big boss fights as well, where I don't think they're great boss fights. The first one you have to fight a con maker, the person who you talk to like at the very beginning of the game. You've
Right.
kind of been hunting down, and the kind of the basis of that fight is like you have to shoot the shield that they have on them. You get that down, and then you do like the super shotgun uh, hook shot, to them, and then blood punch them.
The meat hook.
Yes, and then you do that like 5 times. All the
Ugh.
while, like the area around you is getting like half of it is like bad stuff's happening on the ground, so you have to avoid it. And also like the dudes you have to headshot to easy kill are also running around shooting you as well. So it's I don't know, like it didn't feel great. Like it's kind of like this is a fight. It's just longer than expected. Just dumping a lot of ammo because that's how I have to do this. And then the last level you fight the Icon of Sin, who's just a big dude. He walks around the level and then eventually you fight him and I talked to you about this earlier, but like essentially the crux of that fight is like it's a two-part fight where at first like it has all this like armor on it, so you have to like shoot all these pieces of armor off, and it's like you have to shoot off 8 different points of its body, so like it's forearm, upper arm, uh, one boobie, the other boobie, tummy, and then 2 on the other arm, and then the face. And then like all the while
You
that's
gotta shoot
happening,
his boobies off.
you gotta shoot his boobies off. All the while that's happening, like just tons of enemies are spawning and coming at you and all this sort of stuff. So and he's like just punching the ground at you and like shooting giant laser beams off of his head at you. It's very chaotic.
You know, I often wish I could shoot laser beams off my head.
It's true. This boss fight at least felt more like grandiose as like a big boss fight because of just how chaotic it was and just the scale of this boss and everything. But then like you get to the second part of it and it's just hey, do the same thing again, but this time you're just shooting his exposed flesh to make his exposed flesh even more exposed, to where he's showing his bones and all that sort of stuff. And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess
Mm.
that seems fine. And you know, again, it's just more enemies are coming your way and everything, so it's just a lot of running around avoiding them and then chainsawing people whenever you need ammo and all that sort of stuff.
Does Doom Guy talk anymore?
I don't think so, but that does remind me that. So one of the things in this game is that you rescue Samuel Hayden,
Yes, you do.
the antagonist from the first game,
The robot.
who just helps you out now.
Yep. I mean, he is in half.
He is in half, but also just like sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Before you go fight the Icon of Sin, he's like, "All right, now you have to go finish the fight." And I was like, "Oh, come on,
Wow.
why would you say that?"
Wow.
And then once you beat the Icon of Sin, you literally Doomkai walks towards the camera away from the guy, just like going, "Ah!"
Oh my god.
And you hear some like king dude who's like, "You are their shield, you are their power and everything, but your fight is eternal." Late title card.
God. God.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So that
They really went
happens.
there, huh?
Yeah. And you get a post-credit scene
Oh.
of like a zombie in Doom Guy's office playing with the toys. Like he has a Doom Guy toy and like a Hell Dude toy, and he's like, "Oh, the Hell Guy's beating up Doom Guy!" Ha 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 ha! And then Doom Guy shows up and cocks his shotgun. He's like, "Uh oh!" Like that's kind of the dumb stuff I would want from this game.
Right.
But like it feels so like inconsistent throughout it.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
it shows up sometimes, but like a lot of the other times it's filled with like the game being almost too serious to a point. Or maybe not too serious, it's just like over the top in terms of like we gotta have all the story in here.
yeah, like they tried to have too much story and too much like depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody's looking for depth in Doom. Nobody. Like if somebody tells you they're looking for depth in a Doom story, they're lying to you. Nobody wants that. See?
Like there are parts of it that I was like, you know, some of this is getting there. Like whenever like random people run into Doom Guy and they're like, oh crap, oh crap, it's him.
Yeah.
Um, and also there was like some point as well where like they kind of play off like that same opening scene from Doom 2016 where like he's getting some like instruction and he's just like, get this out of my way, I don't need this. I know what I gotta do. But then like you said, it's just like, there's all of it is kind of surrounded by a lot of this like very story driven stuff that is like I don't necessarily need, I think. So
Yeah, I mean it's bizarre to have like 12 pages of like this is where the Doom guy started, and I'm like, what?
there's a lot of codex stuff in this game that you
There's
can read. A lot of lore.
lot of lore.
Which
And like I usually love lore. But like not here. This is not where I want lore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I want? To be able to use my cheat codes.
Let's go back and play all those earlier levels and you'll be fine.
I mean, like,
welcome to Doom Eternal 3/4 edition.
that's one thing that I could do is go back and play all the earlier levels and just like accumulate a ton of extra lives.
Yeah.
But even then, like, I'd still be frustrated because I'd still just be losing those lives repeatedly once I get to where I need to be.
Mm-hmm. One other good thing about this game, soundtrack is still very good.
Very, very good.
I don't think it really does anything new compared to Doom 2016, but like it's still like it's just very good. It helps you, it ramps you up through these battles and everything, sets the mood for the levels and all that sort of stuff, and it's really good. It's the kind of music you want for this game.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, 2016 had amazing sound design and amazing soundtrack. So like, I was not shocked that it was good here.
Yeah,
I was just glad that it maintained the goodness.
Yeah, same. And then you can go into Fortress of Doom and just literally play the music from E1M1 and be like, oh, yes, good. This is what I want. So, yeah, Doom Eternal. It's not the eternal game we were looking for. Oh, jokes.
Yeah, I still appreciated that people were like, Alice playing Doom, what? Because I'm definitely not your stereotypical Doom player.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just don't know that I can finish it. Like right this minute, and actually most of the time, I just have very little patience for being frustrated when I'm trying to just have fun.
Right.
And so like once I realized that I was being more frustrated than I was having fun, I was like, why am I even bothering with this right now? Like the whole thing is that I play video games to have fun and to relax, and like I'm just torturing myself, and that's not cool. So I quit.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's I think that's okay to do once you realize, like, this is not what I need right now. Like, that's fine. And
Yeah.
that was the moment that I had. This is not what I need right now.
Also, Doom 2016 still exists.
Yes, Doom 2016 is still really good, still very much exists. And I beat that one.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? Lame.
What the heck, indeed. So yeah, that's Doom.
It's Doom. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
In a nutshell.
One's good. One still has some good, but not as good.
I will say one thing that was pretty entertaining to me is once I got the classic Doom skin, I could run around and he had like the ab window.
Yes, that's very good.
Yeah.
It makes that game real goofy in a way that like not intended.
Nope.
Everyone's like, man, Doom guy's got his tummy out.
You just got like ab window there. And I'm like, that's like all your squishy bits that you really don't want to use. It's just there. Out.
All right, here's the real question before we wrap up.
Okay.
How do you play this game in terms of where the weapon is located? Is it cocked to the side like a regular first-person shooter, or is it down the middle like classic Doom?
What?
Those are your options.
Is that a thing that you can adjust?
Yeah, that was the thing in 2016 as well.
Oh, I never missed. Like, I just left it as default.
Wow.
I didn't know you could change it.
Wow.
I had no idea.
I have been a staunch classic Doom gun position player of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal.
It didn't tell me I could do that.
It's a thing in the options I think you have to find, but yeah.
Okay.
I just like that as an option because it's real dumb.
Yeah, that's
but also
legit.
it's real fun to play like that.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was even a thing.
Well, there you go. The more you know.
Something new every day.
Well, that's gonna wrap this episode up. More like kind of a shorter episode this week.
I mean, I didn't expect that like Doom episode was gonna be really, really long.
Yeah.
Unless you guys just want to hear me rage even more.
Hear a jingle jangle in the background.
That's Loki.
He's like, I'll rage.
He will. He was supportive in my my moments of rage.
He's like, yo, calm down, come
on. The one thing that I can say that I appreciate is that I essentially ended up living out that meme that came out with Animal Crossing and Doom, and that it's like, hey, like the hardcore dude's gonna go and pick up some Animal Crossing, and the like cutesy gal is gonna go get some Doom, and like that's basically what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. I was
also,
like, yeah, I appreciate that.
Also, if you're like one of them trophy dudes or dudettes or whatever, a trophy person, trophies in this seem pretty easy.
Yeah.
I've got like 2/3 of them and I've beat the game. Like there's no difficulty trophy, which is real interesting. Like the only ones I'm missing from like the single player are like just because I can't get those Slayer gates unlocked because they won't spawn for me. And then there's some like multiplayer ones which I assume probably aren't terrible, but like this seems like it would be like an easy platinum if you were really into that.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not, but some people are.
Yeah.
So if you were one of those people, here you go.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap this episode up then.
Yep.
If you'd like more from us, go to seasonalanimeCheckup.com or sac.cool. It's where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup and Jared Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can find us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza and get access to unedited versions of the podcast and bonus podcasts as well.
Yay!
On there. Next week, we'll talk about something.
Yeah.
Cats agree. So we'll figure that out and be like, oh God, it's April. I mean, it's already April when you're listening to this, but still, oh God, it's April.
O'Neill.
Or maybe it's like, I don't know, we could just start calling this March, still March.
Yeah.
Welcome to March 35th.
March the 2nd.
Or 36th.
Not the 2nd as in the day, but March.
March 2.
As March 2. Further March is what we'll just call it. We're now in further March.
There you go.